So, as promised, the second exercise, additional exercise, I will link this exercise also in the video description. So if you want to give this exercise a try in advance, please feel free to do so. But then pause the video at this point, because the next part of this video will be a solution for this exercise. So these are also 3 sheets with exercises. Please pay attention to this. So here we have 100,000, so the first 100,000 numbers after 0, and a few, and yes, these are true things. So 11 is a palindrome, also 22, and the distance from 14 to the next prime number is 3. So yeah, you know, these are not values out of my mind. These are mathematical values I've calculated in advance. And here is a hint how to solve this. You could solve this in 100,000 ways. And when I would do this exercise, I would not solve it the way I will show you right now. But there are a few techniques you didn't know so far, and so on. I solve this exercise as I've recommended in the hint. So, and how would I do that? First, I input here a few additional columns. Oh, that was too far. Yeah, too much. So I will delete 4 columns and also make them not so wide. Yeah, this is enough. So, and then I will, because these are true false values, you know how to make them numbers. You make them numbers by inputting a minus before, and then I will sum them up, and I will do so, like from the first question to the second question, do this question by question. So first question, how many even numbers are in the list? So equals minus this reference, will hand out 1 and 0 here. Drag this down by double clicking on it. It's dragged down, and then I can sum this whole column up. Sum this column up, and you see 50,000 even numbers. So second question, how many prime numbers are in the list? You could also do equals minus, and then you have 1 for every prime number, and then sum this whole column up. And you see 9,592 prime numbers. How many palindromes? It's basically the same, minus. Click on this column here, this cell here, drag this formula down, and sum the whole column up. 1089. How many numbers are both prime and palindrome? So here we could use the AND function, prime and palindrome. So prime number, you know, AND function works with true false values, and palindrome, and it will hand out a true false value. And to make this a number, put a minus in front of the AND function. Drag this formula down, and you see, for example, 11 is a prime number and also a palindrome, and the next number is like 101. And we can now sum this column up and have 109,000 numbers. How many numbers have a distance of more than 6 to the next prime number? So we can either check this larger 6, and it will hand out a false value. We need to put this in the brackets to translate it into numbers. And then you see you need to go a little bit down to have a number larger or with a distance more than 6 to the next prime number. But we can then sum this whole column up and have here our result. It's quite large because at the bottom there aren't so many prime numbers anymore. And you could also use, for example, the if function here. So if this, oh sorry, needs a bracket here. If this larger 6, then 1, otherwise 0. And drag this formula also down. This would hand out the same result as you see here. How many numbers are perfectly divisible by 24 and 2024? So minus minus and perfectly divisible by 24 and 2024 and 24. I hate those values. I've never found an error with this error messages. So and sum the whole column up. You see 16 numbers are both perfectly divisible by 2024 and 24. How many numbers are either a palindrome or prime numbers? So minus minus or palindrome prime number. Drag this down. Equals sum of this whole column. Oh, this is wrong because either means here in this context palindrome or prime number and not both. So we need to have an XOR here. Drag this down and you see a little change, but you know it has changed there. So how many palindromes are even? So we need the end function here, equals minus minus end. Palindrome and even right here. So even and palindrome, close brackets, drag the formula down, sum this up. Not so many. How many numbers are even or have a distance of 3 or less to the next prime number? Okay, or, so or, minus minus or, even or distance smaller or equal to 3. Drag this down, sum the column up, and you see, oh, there are many numbers. How many palindromes are perfectly divisible by 24? Minus minus end should be in palindrome and perfectly divisible by 24. Drag this down and sum this column up. And you see 40 numbers are palindromes and divisible by 24. So this was the first exercise, but I said 3 worksheets with exercises are here. So here this is our start number. You should multiply the start number with 56. So with this value here, then add this number here, round to the nearest 100, so round this number, and you know to round before the comma you need to round with -2, so we like to have the places before the comma or the point then divide this by this number, subtract this number, add all those answers, sum of the input numbers from the previous calculations. So this mass 2 plus 2 plus 4. Sorry, oh sorry, yeah, didn't understand my sum of the input numbers, sorry, yeah, makes sense. Then divide this by 1,000,000, round to 1 decimal place, and add this number again. And you see we are again at 2024. Short calculation exercise. Now something with addressing. We should multiply those numbers with 8, and you know references are in general dynamic in Excel, so to fix this reference we need to input our $sign. It would be enough to input the $sign before the row number, but we will input it for both the row number and the column letter, and then we can drag this formula down to calculate it. Then we should do the product of this number and the numbers on the right. And you know references are in general dynamic in Excel, so we want to fix those references here also. And then you could drag this formula down easily, and you know it's right. And here we should multiply those numbers with each other, so 1 with 1, 1 with 2, 2 with 1, 2 with 2, and so on. And you could also do this with the referencing in Excel. So multiply this number with this number, and you want here to have the row number fixed, so put a $sign in front of the row number. And here you want to have the column letter fixed, so put a $sign in front of the column letter. Then drag it to the left, to the right, and drag it down. Oh, not so far. Drag it down, and you see it's right. That was the additional exercise 2, and with this we are at the end of the basic course. I hope you stay with me for the advanced course. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.